Today I fucked up by leaving the toaster plugged in. Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some recent r/Today I Fucked Up stories posted on Reddit. Today I fucked up by leaving the toaster plugged in. My toddler, 3 male, can be extremely sweet, don't get me wrong. I love this kid with my whole heart. But some days, he can't help but fuck shit up, because that's a toddler's true purpose in life. Our apartment flooded over a week ago, which blows. Since then, we've been staying in a suite-style hotel. It's very nice, that is significantly smaller than our apartment. You would think that a smaller space makes it easier to watch over a toddler, but actually, it just unlocks the highest level of their pure wild child energy TM and it enables their fuck shit up copyright protocols in overdrive mode. It is a rainy day today, so I put on the big corporation child pacification device to attempt to calm my son for a few minutes of peace and fucking quiet. That little shit was humming along to some motherfucking Baby Shark, so I figured I'm good to sit back for a minute, maybe make myself some breakfast for fucking once. All of the sudden, my work phone starts going nuts. I pick it up and one of my clients was supposed to see the doctor but wouldn't answer the phone for the staff. I grab my toast out of the toaster, check on son, and then step into the bedroom area of the suite to call client. I'm on phone call number 5 in a row after managing to get client up and out of bed and trying to call the doctor's office to make sure they know they will be late when suddenly, I smell something burning. I go out to investigate and my son makes a mad dash back to the couch and keeps watching his videos, all fucking smiley like tee up. I wasn't doing anything. I realize I left the toaster plugged in. I look inside and to my horror, the little asshole found my keys, put them in the toaster, and turned it on. I'm shouting oh shit oh fuck as I unplug that shit and try to fish my keys out with a fork. The receptionist, who of course just picked up, is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, settle down lady, my kid just turned my keys into waffles, holy fucking shit. But then I remember and switch to my customer service voice and say, I'm terribly sorry ma'am, I have called with a message that client shall be arriving late to their scheduled appointment, thank you. And then I hang up and proceed to look at these fucking keys. On the plus side, the black key fob still works. Today I fucked up by playing Battlefield with my Korean War veteran grandfather. My grandfather was born and raised in Kara. When war broke out in Korea, Turkey sends troops their support. My grandfather is among those soldiers, miraculously returns without dying. Occasionally he comes to the city from the village to our side. When he came to my room, he constantly tells about war memories, talks about how lucky the new generation is or something. One day when I was sitting in my room like this again, he came to me, and started looking at the images on the TV. Asked me if this is a movie or a documentary. I said neither of them, it's a game. 2 to 3 minutes ago his smiling face was gone and his face was stiff. He asked me if this game has anything to do with real life battles. I sincerely said yes, about the World War and Second World War. When these battles happened, even though he was a little boy, he slowly sat in the seat next to me. And I opened Conquest mode, we started to play together. When he saw horses, tanks and planes, he was happy as if he was on the battlefield again. Because all he knew well and was taught was to fight. When he saw being born again after he died in the game, he asked in surprise, how, so you are not dead now? I told him he could be reborn after he died in the game. He said that in our time you would really die if you ate the bullet. Then, affected by the sounds of bombs and bullets in the game, he suddenly began to shout, attack the positions. Thinking he was joking, I accompanied him and started shouting attack in positions. Then he lay down and started crawling and I still didn't think it was real. Then he started singing the march they sang in the army and continued to crawl. So I turned on the music of that anthem and we started singing together. Hearing the voices from inside, my grandmother came and asked what we were doing. I said we had fun and it's okay. My grandfather stopped crawling. He said war broke out, take bread, hide the children, it is not clear when I will come. We found him at the police station 2 kilometers from our house and now we brought him home. He still thinks there is active war in Korea. Today I fucked up by making my religious neighbors believe a saint is unhappy with them. Didn't happen today but just wanted to finally get this off my chest. This is going to be a confession as well. When I was a kid not so long ago, my Catholic neighbors invited the neighborhood for a party because it was their kid's birthday. Us being kids, we decided to play hide and seek to pass the time. My neighbors have a rather large house. They also have statues of different saints in different sizes around the place. You probably know where this is going. The game went pretty fine at first, but then young me decided to hide under this couch beside a small table with a saint in it. Of course, I accidentally knocked it down. Uh-oh, I was in a full-blown panic. Luckily it only fell on the table and was split horizontally in two. It all happened so fast, but when I tried calming myself I came up with a plan. I placed the two pieces back together and placed it back where it was. There was a visible crack if you looked hard enough, but from afar it looks fine. The day ended with me forgetting it even happened. I got off easy. A few weeks passed, then my mom and I bumped into our neighbors in the groceries. My mom talks to them for a while like they usually do when they bump into each other, but something felt off. It was like my neighbors were very choosy with their words. It was then when they got to the part where they thought some saint was unhappy with them did I realize what was up. Turns out, my handiwork stayed in place for days, but one night it just decided to fall apart. My neighbors were startled when it did, and I can only imagine what they thought when suddenly a statue of a saint broke by itself. If it happened now I would have confessed in a heartbeat, but young me was scared shitless. Even if I wanted to confess back then, the words never came out of my mouth. My neighbors were nice, but they started acting super nice after that. Their kid even started getting spoiled and they seemed even happier as a family, so there's that. In the end, I guess it wasn't too bad, but I just had to let it out. Today I fucked up by accidentally getting my parents high. So this happened New Year's Day a few years ago, and I still can't get over the fact that this really happened. I was visiting my parents over the Christmas/New Year holidays, and had planned to spend the night of the 31st at a friend's house with a group of people. My parents were going out of town for that night, visiting a family member. I knew they planned to be back on the 1st, but as it was a longer car drive and I expected them to celebrate, I assumed they would be back in the evening. My own plans involved baking hash muffins. I brought some with me for that purpose. I thought it would be a nice thing to bring to the party. So as soon as my parents left the house on the 31st, I got into the kitchen and started baking. I ended up with maybe 16 muffins, but I had to travel by bike and there was no box big enough to fit all of my baked goodies. So I left 4 in the fridge, assuming I would be the first to be back the next day and I would surely have plenty of time to store them in my room and munch them away over the next 1 or 2 days. However, I had completely underestimated how much of a party pooper both my parents are. While I was still sleeping off the booze, and the muffins I guess, at my friend's place, my parents were back at home before noon. I had even calculated this risk, but I thought of our family as a leave other people's food, at least ask before taking stuff fridge policy family. I thought I would be safe. I was wrong. When I came back home and saw my parents' car, first thing I did was rush in and check the fridge. But, you guessed it, no more muffins. But an empty tray in the sink. I was horrified. My parents are super uncomfortable with drugs of any kind, starting with cigarettes. Even alcohol is a rare thing for them to drink. And surely they expected their only daughter to follow in their footsteps. Well, I carefully asked about the muffins, and my dad told me they each had 2. Don't get me wrong, I didn't make super space muffins that could catapult you into another dimension, but they were not too weak as well, and with each of my parents eating 2, the chance of them experiencing quite some symptoms were very high, haha. My mind was racing. I tried to decide what to do, and as they thought about having a nap as they had been up early, I hoped they would just sleep over it and I could ignore the whole deal. But I wasn't as lucky. My dad changed plans to drive somewhere, and that was the moment I decided I had to tell them. Both were incredibly angry and annoyed, told me I had never to bring any drugs into their home ever again. Then my father decided to just sleep over it, went to bed and only came back out the next day. My mom decided she had smoked a spliff once when she was young, it wouldn't be so bad, and stayed awake, but then obsessively cleaned the rim of the stove for 2 hours, giggling. While in the end, the whole thing was not too bad after all. But until this day, whenever I see my parents in person they ask me about my drug use, and although I never answer, I always have to listen to at least 30 minutes of "That's not good for your health, you can get severe mental problems, I would have thought more from you, you will ruin your life and end up broke, job and homeless." I guess they will do that for the rest of my life. Today I fucked up by getting literal shit everywhere, including my kitchen sink. So I had to take a shit earlier tonight. I usually put a little bit of toilet paper in the toilet before I go because I'm dainty like that and it prevents the water from splashing up into my asshole. I sat down not knowing what was to come. I took like 3 shits in one shit, it was crazy. And when I flushed, the water came up to the brim, so I tried to unclog it. I figured I should try unclogging it before flushing so it didn't overflow, but it didn't do much but turn the toilet into like a shit stew. It looked like flat Coca-Cola. I tried flushing again and unclogging it, and that was a mistake. The shit cola overflowed all over my bathroom floor for like a solid 30 seconds, it was fucking insane. I only had 2 towels in the house cause me and my roommates are just moving in, and one of my roommates was gonna wash all the towels at the place he's moving from today, conveniently. I had to just use what I had, but it wasn't enough, so I grabbed a bunch of old t-shirts to try and do what I could. I was losing ground and went downstairs to get some garbage bags from the kitchen for everything and realized that there is a hole, I guess, in the floor of the bathroom, which is right over the kitchen, and there is shit water dripping all over the kitchen sink and onto dishes in it. I ran upstairs, tracking the shit water under my feet, and just grabbed an old comforter from my closet in a last-ditch effort to turn the tides on this battle, and it worked, even though so much damage was already done. I cleaned up the rest in the bathroom and kitchen with more t-shirts and paper towels and soap and water cause everywhere's closed right. It was 1 a.m. when it happened. I washed the shit water dishes with soap and water and am now gonna run them through the dishwasher like 3 times, then buy like rubbing alcohol or bleach or something tomorrow and clean everything with that, then mop cause I need to buy Swiffer things too. After that I'm gonna throw it all in the dishwasher again cause I feel like I can't do enough. Then I just have to explain to my roommates how I got shit all over everything when they get here in the evening, cause they're officially moving in today and hopefully they're able to eat a bowl of cereal without being grossed out. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.